Welcome to my rapidly growing YouTube channel. I will be talking to you today about the relationship between unemployment and recession, what causes higher unemployment during a recession, the additional costs of joblessness in a recession, and strategies to reduce unemployment during recessions. For a chance to win a $50 gift card, please subscribe to my channel, hit the like button, and leave a comment below. Unemployment climbs like a rocket and falls like a feather, says one economist. As corporations deal with decreased demand, dropping profitability, and rising debt at the start of a recession, many begin to lay off staff in order to save money. As the number of jobless workers rises, demand and output fall even further, newly unemployed workers find it more difficult to find work, and the average period of unemployment rises. Rising unemployment is one of several indications that characterizes a recession, and it exacerbates the situation. A recession is defined as a severe and widespread drop in economic activity that lasts longer than a few months. The monthly non-farm payrolls report and household employment survey, real personal income less transfers, real personal consumption expenditures, wholesale and retail sales, and industrial production are all used by the National Bureau of Economic Research to date recessions. While unemployment is one of the indications used to determine whether or not a recession has started, it tends to peak later and last far into a recovery. That's because, rather than marking the end of the recession, the end of the recession signifies the trough of the economic contraction and the beginning of the recovery. The unemployment rate peaked at 14.7% in April 2020, the month the recession ended, during the significantly shorter two-month recession triggered by the advent of the pandemic in the United States in early 2020. It was the first time in at least 70 years when unemployment caused by a recession did not peak when the economy was already recovering. Because a recession means a loss in economic activity, and labor is a vital economic input alongside capital, it stands to reason that employment will drop as output falls. Economists have discovered that employment and production growth have a consistent direct causal link. To reduce the unemployment rate by 1 percentage point in a year, the economy must grow 2 percentage points faster than its potential growth rate, according to a related rule of thumb. Potential GDP is a calculation of how much production an economy could have created if its labor and capital had been used at their highest sustainable rate. Potential GDP is defined by the labor force size, the rate of productivity growth, and capital investment. Different modeling methodologies tend to give diverse estimates since potential GDP is a theoretical concept that is not immediately observable. Layoffs tend to snowball as demand declines as a result of job losses. Initial layoffs at the start of the recession have a major negative impact on spending and sentiment, which leads to more job losses, which exacerbates the economy's fragility, and so on. The negative feedback loop eventually runs out of steam, but not before the economy and employees have suffered long-term consequences. People who lose their employment during recessions, particularly deep ones, are more likely to become long-term unemployed and find it more difficult to re-enter the labor market afterwards. Only 35% to 40% of workers displaced during the Great Recession were employed full-time by January 2010, according to the National Bureau of Economic Research. Re-employment rates for workers who lost their jobs as recently as 2013 remained unusually low. According to a study conducted by the National Library of Medicine, males lose an average of 1.4 years of earnings when laid off while the unemployment rate is below 6%, but twice as much when the unemployment rate is above 8%. Long-term unemployment has a negative impact on public health and the economy's long-term productivity potential. Governments all around the world utilize fiscal and monetary policies to control the business cycle's highs and lows. When the economy slumps, this means higher government spending and lower tax collections to keep aggregate demand afloat, avoiding more job losses and a deeper downturn. Central banks use a similar logic to lower interest rates and pursue asset acquisitions. When circumstances are tough, fiscal policy steps in first with automatic stabilizers, or built-in relief that doesn't require any policy changes or legislation. Tax collections fall when output diminishes. Unemployment insurance and other transfer payments rise as layoffs spread. Automatic stabilizers are especially useful because they may immediately distribute aid to those who need it the most and spend it the most promptly, maximizing its economic benefit. Additional automatic stabilizers, such as direct stimulus payments, have been proposed by certain economists. Fiscal relief that requires legislation arrives later or not at all, and is less likely to be commensurate to the demand than automatic stabilizers. It is also more likely to be divisive. Targeted government help for certain industries or corporations, sometimes referred to as a bailout, is the most contentious of all. Some critics oppose to government aid to for-profit businesses on moral grounds, while others believe that the assistance is misdirected due to ineptitude or political motivations. In 2008 to 2009, the U.S. government paid about $80 billion to save automakers from going bankrupt, with 85% of that money recouped on an inflation-adjusted basis. Supporters point out that the measure saved hundreds of thousands of jobs in the auto industry and avoided a regional recession. Critics argue that it created a negative precedent and encouraged the industry to engage in riskier business practices. In conclusion, joblessness aggravates recessions, and a jump in unemployment and its endurance are hallmarks of a recession. Because of the short and long-term consequences of unemployment, governments have devised a variety of policies aimed at reducing unemployment during downturns. I hope you find this information helpful. To get more contents like this, kindly check out the videos to the left of your screen. For a chance to win a $50 gift card, subscribe to my channel, like the video, comment, and share. Thank you.